Everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob. We are at beautiful Challenge Miami. We are brought to you by Challenge North America, City Bikes, Venito, Challenge Athletes Foundation, Florida Dairy Farmers, and Wahoo, our next guest, Lizzie Nyitray, who's a former D1 collegiate runner and built the Rock multi-sport community. How are you doing, Lizzie?
Good, how are you?
I am spectacular. So are you excited about Friday?
I am excited and nervous, but that's good, I think.
Have you ever raced? I don't think anybody's ever raced in a field like this. This is a pretty phenomenal field with Lucy Charles and Annie Hogg and Paula Finley.
Yeah, by far the most competitive field that I've ever raced in my pro career.
So take me back to getting into, did you start as a runner?
Yeah, well, I started doing all the different sports when I was little, and then began running when I tried to qualify for the tennis team and didn't make it.
In high school or college?
In high school.
Okay, so didn't make tennis team, so we're like, I'm going to run.
Right.
And you did well.
Yeah.
And so that got you scholarships. You ran D1?
Yeah, I ran in Boston College.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so then out of college, is that when triathlon got part of your life, became part of your life?
Yeah, so after college, I moved to the Dominican Republic. And
now, what brought you there?
I during college, I wanted to study somewhere that no one else from Boston College would be, and kind of like go somewhere that I'd never really
That's pretty gutsy.
Or learned about.
Yeah.
So I also want to learn Spanish. So I chose the Dominican Republic and ended up in Santo Domingo. And after I graduated, I loved the island and the people and wanted to go back. So I got a job teaching down there.
That is so cool. I mean, that's pretty gutsy, going to a foreign country on your own, just and immersing yourself. Did you speak Spanish when you went down there?
I thought I did, but I got down there and I was like, oh my gosh, what language are these people speaking? This is not what I learned in college.
Conversational is a little different.
Exactly.
And it's really fast.
Yeah, but I picked it up eventually. And
now, you were teaching down there? Were you teaching triathlon?
No, I was teaching social studies, actually.
Yes, and then were you doing triathlons there?
I started running, so I was running with actually one of the military groups down there. And then the coach of the men's national team saw me running, and he was like, hey, we're trying to put together a women's team. We'd love for you to join. And
yeah.
So I started training with the men's, like my introduction to triathlon was training with the men's national team in the Dominican Republic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the acceleration class. All of a sudden you're training with the national team, you get good or you get off the back pretty quickly.
Exactly. And the guys were super accepting of me, and they're still to this day some of my closest friends. So. And
what brought you back to Florida?
I came back to Georgia.
Yep.
My boyfriend moved here, so I had spent 12 years in the Dominican Republic and decided it was time to
come back.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about the Rock Multisport.
So Rock Multisport is the coaching company. I started it actually as a side hustle kind of in the Dominican Republic to be able to pay my way to get to races, because traveling from there, you have to get on a flight no matter
wherever you're going, you got to fly. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets pretty expensive. So when I was teaching down there, I started coaching just a few athletes, and it grew from a few athletes to like 50 athletes within 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
very cool.
It was very rapid, and eventually I had to choose between teaching and managing the coaching business because it was becoming alongside training were like 3 full-time jobs.
Well, and the nice thing is you create a successful business.
Yes.
Right? That's really what it's all about. How do you balance the coaching and the running a business and racing at a professional level?
I love both of them. So I think passion, first of all, is how I balance it, because a lot of time goes into both. But for me, it's very meaningful time. And I feel like they're kind of intertwined in that if I tell my athletes something, they can see very clearly how I apply that to myself as well. And it was really hard giving up teaching because I love teaching, but I feel like the coaching aspect allows me to incorporate both my passion for the sport and teaching at the same time.
The nice thing that I think a lot of people think coaches are working with elite athletes and helping them get from, the one little level they're at to one level higher. But I'm guessing the athletes that mean the most to you are the ones who are starting from ground zero, and they've got some bodacious goal, and you help them get there, and they get there.
Oh, definitely. I've pushed to make sure my group is very diverse as well, and kind of represents a broader range of people. So some of my biggest victories have been, for example, getting women into triathlon who didn't really believe at first that they could even be a triathlete.
Yes.
It's awesome to see people, how they grow personally because of the confidence or the skills that they gain with dealing with life through sport. So.
It's interesting because a lot of people look at sport as sort of frivolous. They don't think it really means that much, but I think you and I both know that these sports change people's lives. It just makes them more powerful and makes them more successful in everything they do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's awesome to see the change in even in like managing anxiety or managing stress. People I know have gone off antidepressants because of sport.
Yes.
It's awesome to see that transformation.
How hard has this year been with COVID, where a lot of people can't race, to keep your athletes motivated?
My athletes are pretty awesome. I have to shout out to my athletes because they all stayed pretty motivated. They actually found ways within the group to motivate each other. So I had one athlete who's in her 60s who set her goal to run a 10K during COVID, like in the midst of all of the craziness. And she was like, "Who wants to do it with me?" So everyone, she organized a virtual 10K for all the athletes, and everyone hopped on to celebrate her birthday. And
how fun!
One other athlete wanted to do a duathlon, so then we organized like a virtual duathlon. So I think I'm lucky, I guess, that my athletes just kind of found ways to stay motivated and proposed it to the group, and then that motivated others.
That's so cool. So you're racing on Friday. Do you have a number of your athletes racing on Saturday?
And Sunday as well.
Well, so you got a full weekend.
Yeah.
So you've got a cheering section on Friday where your athletes are going to come and cheer for you.
Yeah.
And then you'll be doing the cheering on Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly. I'm really excited about how that worked out. So
that's way better than if they were racing and then you had to wait till Sunday to race, right? Yes. Yours is done. There's nothing else you can do at that point. What type of mileage are you putting in for this race? Because this is so it's more than Olympic, not quite a half. How does this fit in terms of your training?
Well, I basically just do whatever my coach, Brian Stover, tells me to do.
See, you are a perfect coach because you understand that you listen to whatever your coach says you do, period.
Yeah, so I've been putting in about 25 hours more or less a week. But this is kind of like a season opener, see how it's going race for me. So I think I'm preparing for other things beyond this, hopefully, whatever comes up.
Yeah, whatever happens. Yeah. Whatever happens. Lizzie, such an honor to get to meet you. Congratulations on everything you're doing with Rock. I think that's so cool to start your own business. How many athletes do you have now?
Well, I have groups.
Different groups?
Yeah. I have 30 online coaching athletes, and then I have a run club, and I also coach a high school cross country team and a kids summer swim league. So I have lots of different.
So I like that. I like how you're thinking. If I got this running group going and swimming group going, now I know I can bring them into triathlon.
Exactly.
Feeder system.
I have lots of little 4-year-old girls who want to be triathletes. So
very cool. Well, thank you for doing that. That's the future. We love that.
Thank you. I love it too.
Lizzie Nyitray has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. Hold on. We will be right back.